Got a quick minute here to make a video of our 1955 Chrysler New Yorker Town and Country wagon. This unit represents, well, a design era from Virgil Exner that was just absolutely outstanding. Lots of chrome, lots of terrific lines. And this particular body style was one of 1,036 wagons produced for 1955, which, all things considered, was a very limited production run for a four-door wagon in 1955. So not an easy unit to find. This one we found in Ohio. Former owner had this car for 18 years. It is a driver. In fact, the gentleman we bought it from in Ohio was a frequent attendee at the Hershey swap meet every year. So this car, on his own account, made at least 5 trips in his 18 years as his driver there and back to Hershey. So he would load up his wares and chairs and everything he wanted to utilize up there at the Hershey meet, and this was his cruiser to get him there and back. So nice proven driver. Older repaint. This car is coated correctly as a black car originally. In fact, I believe it was all black according to its production code tag on the firewall there. So at some point this car was repainted, and another available color during that era and time frame was this Sunburst Yellow. So someone two-toned it at one point, which really highlights the overall lines of the car, as you can clearly see. But if one were so inclined, this car being all black, I think, is how it left the factory. The interior of this car, as we walk around it, you'll see is all original, but let's start on the outside. It's got a great 20-foot presentation, as you can see. In fact, I'd say I'm well within 10 feet of the car, and I would say within 10 feet it still shows really well. It just has, unfortunately just got, it's got some areas that would easily showcase it as a driver. So as far as fit and finish, body lines look really, really nice. Fitment of the hood to the grille for surround is all great. The chrome here on the front, I would rate quite high. I would even probably wager that this front chrome area has been refinished at one point. By that I mean replated. These all look good. The lens down here, as you can see, has seen better days, but those might not be easy to find, so they've kept the original ones. This one actually looks obviously a little better, a little bit of stress cracking to it. I don't know why my phone's struggling to focus. There we go. But all in all, it presents well here on the front. We'll just make our way down the side. And like I said, when you get within 3 feet, you'll start to see some nicks and dings and things that show it's been worked on and made to run on a regular basis. The car showcases no signs or evidence of ever being hit or wrecked, and that is important. I mean, when we talk about fitment and body lines and all of that. But as you can see, the stresses start to showcase even after a repaint. We're starting to see some evidence that there was some water stuck in the bottom of this door at one time. And just put my finger in here for reference. You can see there's a 3 or 4 inch section on this passenger rear door that's going to need to be remedied. As you can see, the door fitments are great. It runs these wonderful, and new, by the way, the previous owner put these beautiful Kelsey Hay style, wire spoke wheels on it, which just really make it look tip top. You can see some more fatigue in the paint back here too, or the metal rather. So there's a little bit of rust in the lower quarter on this side. Chrome here on this. I mean, look at these. Look at that though. I mean, that rear end on this thing is really, really cool. Love those taillight housings. Unfortunately, they're due for being re-chromed. Unlike the front, apparently you never budgeted to do the taillight housings yet. Bumper looks pretty good. Got these great big chrome hinges for the tailgate. So the tailgate obviously has a crank out window here. See how that cranks down as such. And then when you lock that back in place, you've got a release there, a release there, and then the tailgate folds down nicely. And you can see why he would use that for a transport mode for all the stuff going to Hershey. This is too cool. See a little spring helper on each side. Makes it a little easier to lift it up and down. Nice big chrome hinges. So it's all here, it's all complete. Obviously you got a compartment that screws down here on the back with an eyelet holder to lift up that panel, but that's where your spare tire is housed, and then those rear seats fold down. Let me go ahead and stop this video here. I try to keep them short, but I'll join them all back up here at the end, and but we'll jump on the inside here once we finish the other side of the vehicle. Alright, just jumping back with a video number 2. A little easier for me to edit when I have them in shorter spans. We talked about, you know, just again some of the originality to the unit. You can see obviously stuff that's just been in here has kind of leached through some of the original material, but again, this is special padded covers that went over those rear wheel wells back here, so someone can use those quite honestly as templates to build new ones. The interior was coated as gold, and I believe it was a white and gold combination. Let me go ahead and lift this guy back up here real quick. Oh, yeah, those spring helpers work. Help you lift that thing up with one hand, no big deal. See the window glass looks like it's got a mild tint to it as well. Same on this one as we make our way around. You'll see the chrome is really pretty well speckled and is faded in luster at least, but again, the housings are the most important part. It'll be the hardest thing to find, but again, what an undeniable Virgil Exner rear end on this thing. Even the way that they can two-tone the trim, the detail. Obviously the new Yorker comes with a deluxe feature as well. This was the top flagship offering from Chrysler. It was to get the New Yorker. Show you the door fitments here as well. I noted some fatigue on the door on the other side. This one looks like it might just have a similar fatigue, but it's more part of the quarter here, and that's probably the worst of the whole area as far as visibly. We're seeing in the quarter on this side. So unfortunately, yeah, it's definitely had a few days in the rain. Check out these door handles. Pretty cool. There's some custom car guys out there now that actually try to create those and put them on their new models. So this is the part where I get a little. I think this might be the original interior pattern here, and you'll see it's a cloth, gold cloth with a nice detail with a outer white pattern, as which they did here in the back as well. But somebody covered this with a vinyl, but if you look here, it's hiding underneath it, and it's a slightly different pattern. So I don't know if that's the original or if the front ones are original. I'd wager that's more likely the original underneath, but you can see the two-tone gold and white. It's really nice. You know what? Take that back. The door panels match the front, so let's go with that. So these have definitely been recovered, but the fronts and the door panels are probably more period correct. Nice headliner. You can see the courtesy light on the roof and the dash are working. Another neat attribute is the rear doors here have like a quarter vent window, kind of like the fronts. Get a little air moving around for the cabin. So again, definitely seeing some areas of fatigue and used characteristics like the steering wheel. Great dash cluster. Got full instrumentation here with all of your oil pressure, fuel, amp meter. It's even got an engine temp gauge. The Town & Country came equipped with a push-button AM radio. You can see your drive selector here. These cars were not equipped with a park. This is the PowerFlite transmission, so it is still an automatic. But your park brake acted as your park gear, so that's what that's for. See all your nice dials for your headlights and wipers, and obviously you got your cigarette lighter here in the middle. Just again, some cool class back in the day. This car is also equipped, again, a flagship car. It's got power steering and power brakes. So why don't we hop up front? Let's open the hood and I'll show you the underhood. Okay, jumping up front here. I went ahead and opened the hood with both hands. Although Chrysler makes it nice, you've got a nice, easy release hidden in the grill space here, and then you've just got a kind of a one-touch feature to open it, so it can be opened with one hand. This is where we spent most of our time and energy upon arrival. The previous owner had owned and driven this car, as mentioned, for 18 years, but it's like anybody who owns a car for 18 years, they probably let a few things overlap as far as regular maintenance items. So we've taken some liberties of just doing what we do here. One is we went ahead and pulled the carb and had it rebuilt, and upon doing so, it is now equipped with a electric choke, just to help it get to that idle speed a lot faster and easier, so it's running terrific. While that was all being done, we did, what did we do? We sent the radiator was sent out. We had it boiled and cleaned and tested, pressure tested, to make sure the radiator was good, which it is. So it was now fitted with new hoses upper and lower. We also put a new water pump on it. It was painted, obviously, to match the rest of the engine, but that's why that looks so fresh down there. Fuel filter's new, heater hoses are new, the drive belts are new. What else did we do? On the outside here, we did go ahead and do new wheel bearings and seals. Went through the brakes, flushed the brake fluid. I'm trying to think. A lot of it's still listed on our website, but yeah, new tires. We did some new tires on it. Which is, unfortunately, they're starting to leach already a little bit, so I don't know if those will clean up. Let's go ahead and fire this thing up here real quick. Just a battery disconnect. Oh, here, I'll show you. I brought this along. I might as well show you. This is going to be a cold start. I'll show you. We can see that. I'm trying to. So that is service temp showing. Hit that exhaust manifold. So it's 71.5 degrees in our service shop today. 71.8. If I get down in here, I call 71.6, 71.8. So it's about 72 degrees. This will be a cold start. Oh, I should also mention we did engine mounts, transmission mounts. Those are also new. So a lot of the rubber stuff got renewed. Front brake hoses got replaced. Out here. All right, so keys here. I just want to make sure we are in the neutral position. I'm going to leave the park brake over here set. I am going to give it a couple of pumps. Like I said, true. Some fuel up there. Getting the true cold start, guys. There we go. So we'll see as we start it up here. Take some time along. Oil pressure's coming up. Fuel gauge is working. Doesn't want to take any fuel yet. I'm going to let that electric choke kind of work with us a little bit. I'll show you the back here. Let that choke do its thing. Looks like my shifter position might be favoring the reverse position because it's got my reverse lights on. I'm gonna check that real quick. Make sure I'm absolutely, I don't know. Yeah, they're still on. Might have to look into that, make sure my position is, but for the most part, just wanted you to hear the engine. It doesn't smoke. Let's go up front here. You can see the uniqueness of the power steering in the 50s, utilizing the same central piston of the generator there, goes all the way through, so they both operate the same belt. I thought that was kind of neat. General Motors had a very similar tactic on their products as well. The brake master cylinder here is clearly an upgrade. I imagine that was probably a single master cylinder back in the 50s. It's a dual master cylinder for safety now. Really does run quite well, guys. Like I said, I got to run it in the shop, so I'm not going to let it run too long, but you can see that it runs good. Just takes a second to warm it up. I hope this makes for a good car for someone. So check out our website. I got a lot of pictures and history waiting for you.